management is a huge skill that we need to look more closely at. We'll do that right now on the Special Education Inner Circle podcast. I'm your host, Catherine Witcher, and you know that I am always sharing about how we should be writing IEPs for the real world, that the entire purpose of an IEP is to prepare a child for further education, employment, and independent living. That includes being able to use time management to get through our day successfully. We all know that if our day is going smooth, like time management, everything's going well, we feel better, we get more done. And when time management falls apart, our whole day feels like chaos. That's not just true for us. That's true for our children, for our students. It's true long term. We all know people who manage time really well and people who not so much, right? There are tools and things that we can use to support this concept of time management. I'm going to share a couple of different reasons why we need to focus more on time management. I also want to mention that I do have a brand new timer that I love. Some of you might know it. It's been in our special education community for a while, but I'll be honest with you, I've never used it before these last couple of weeks, and I love it. It's called a time timer. It's a visual timer. I'm actually going to hold it up right now. I have a pocket version, which is really a perfect desktop version, or parents, throw in the backpack, bring it with you, have it on the go so we can have a visual timer. I'm going to show you right now how it works. Now, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, you're going to want to go hop over to YouTube and watch this so you can see the actual visual of it. But when I take this little button and I scroll it, I'm actually going to show you there is a red timer that shows, and it quietly, that's the key, counts down. And as the red disappears, we get closer to the end of our time. And I love this visual timer because I love to block time. When I'm managing my day, I block my time. So I say, okay, for 45 minutes, I'm going to work on, and I have something in my calendar, and I kind of batch my tasks together. So if I say I'm going to work on emails, so for 45 minutes, I'm going to work on emails. But if I don't set a timer, that 45 minutes turns easily into 90 minutes. I can easily double that time. It's actually shown through a lot of different studies that if you have a timer and you say, I'm going to get all of this done in a certain amount of time, you can get it done in that amount of time. But if you extend that time and you say, I'm going to give myself 90 minutes to do emails, those emails would take me 90 minutes. When I say 45 minutes, I can get it done in 45 minutes. So I want you to really consider putting time management and block timing your day. But this is so important for our children and our students too, because when we give them a timer, some time management skills, students become more independent. Children become more independent at home. And I'm not talking about using time management as a threat, right? A lot of times time management feels like a threat, as in, how many, multiplication problems can you get done in 1 minute? Go. That's pressure. Time management is not about pressure. It's about moving through tasks successfully. It's about building independence. And that's the first thing I want to talk about when we talk about time management, is building independence. This is about being able to get ready to go somewhere in a certain amount of time. This is about knowing when to end a task so you can move on to the next one. These are all independent living skills. When we talk about functional academic skills, time management needs to be a bigger conversation, because those who can manage their time, right? And I mean anybody with an IEP, without an IEP, child, adult, those who can manage their time and get through a task and move on to the next one have smoother days. It's just how it works. So being able to build independence when it comes to time management is going to have a huge effect on employment and independent living. I've seen this over and over again for my brother. You guys know he's 45. He has Down syndrome. He's had several different jobs, and time management is a huge thing. When you tell him to hurry up, he actually slows down. Anybody have that experience? When you tell somebody, come on, hurry up, it's like they slow down. And a lot of that has to do with when you're giving a verbal cue, especially, and you ask somebody to do something and they get in the middle of doing it, and then you ask them again before they finish, they have to restart the task in their head. They are restarting the entire process that you just interrupted, where they were almost done, but you said hurry up. Visual timers can do so much to help shape how an activity is completed, like in what time it's completed, without having to verbally say, let's go, let's hurry up. So building that independence is absolutely huge. The other thing that it can do is it can build that productivity. So we want our students to turn into productive adults, right? To be able to be productive and contributing members of the community. So being productive means that we have to get things done at a certain time. It's just how it is, whether it's a job or it's at home, it's getting ready to go somewhere. So this productivity is huge. So you have time management for independence of not having to have somebody say, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And then you have productivity because then you'll be able to get it done. And then you'll be able to move on to the next thing or go to the next place. The third reason that we need to talk about time management more inside of our IEP process is because good time management actually helps build relationships. It helps build community, knowing when to show up somewhere, knowing to not be late all the time, knowing when you can leave somewhere. All of these things are part of relationships. We all know somebody who's late all the time. We all know somebody who's early. We all know somebody who wants to be the first to go, but it's like, nope, but I have to stay here for at least 15 minutes before I leave, right? We're all doing time management for community and relationships also. So I really want to encourage you to look at some time management tools. And again, I'm going to highly recommend Time Timer for this. So let me just show you again what this looks like. So number one, it has a cover that goes over the timer, which means that it's kind of like protected. So you're not going to bump the timer and you're not going to fidget with it. It's just flip down the front. And then you're going to take this button and you're going to go ahead and show the red disc that is behind the numbers. And this is not a clock. We are not talking digital versus analog. We are not talking about telling time. We're talking about time management. So this goes all the way up to 1 hour, and then you'll actually watch the red disc disappear. So it's kind of like, okay, we're getting to the end. Push yourself at the end, right? Because we need to move on to something else. And what I love about this too is you can choose, is there a beeper at the end of this timer? Or is it just silent? Like it's done. It's time to move on. I personally use the beeper. I have been setting this. Again, I do a lot of time management by block scheduling. And I also need some visual cues to stay on task, right? Do you guys need some visual cues to stay on task? Some motivators? I do. So here's the other thing that I love about this time timer. This is perfect. It comes with this little dry erase board. And this is important because, again, I'm looking for the best of the best tools that are going to support parents, teachers, admins, therapists. In fact, I'm going to make sure that everybody who comes in person to a Master IEP Coach event in 2023, you guys are going to go home with a time timer. Like that's how much I love time timer, is that I'm going to make sure that everybody gets one. So you're going to get this exact one that I love. So you're going to be able to write on your dry erase card. Here I have write IEP goals, right? I'm thinking of all the teachers here. Write IEP goals. You put it right here on the top of your time timer. There's a little placeholder for it. You go ahead, you set your time, you close the front, and you get to work. And you're able to stay on task with your visual reminder. Now think of all the different ways that you can use this in your classroom for your students, at home, parents, right? Being able to say, how many times have you said, just give me 5 minutes, just give me 5 minutes. You need to set a timer and have this visual cue where you could write some words or draw a picture. You can even adapt this and go ahead and put those, if you're using specific communication visuals, you could put those right onto this dry erase board, and they could say, okay, in 15 minutes, this is going to happen. Or for 15 minutes, you need to read your book. And being able to have that independence to be able to wait 15 minutes or do a task for 15 minutes. I'm telling you, it's a game changer for a child, for adults, for relationships in the home, for productivity in your classroom. And the most important thing is that this is a functional academic life skill. There's numbers involved, there's activities involved, okay? This is a functional academic skill that truly is going to meet that criteria of building an IEP that truly is preparing a child for further education, employment, and independent living. So I'll have the links to Time Timer here below. And just remember, next time when you're sitting down at the IEP and you're like, what should we work on? And the concepts of, time and money always come up, right? We'll talk about money on another day, but for today, it's a lot of time, it's time. Can a child tell time? Well, then we go digital or analog. Again, I want you to take this conversation to the next level. I want you to start thinking about time management. I want you to stop using time management as like a pressure cooker during the day where it's just like, hurry up, get this done. Again, how many math facts can you get done? How many words can you have written? How many of this? No, that's almost using time management as like a punishment of like, push, 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 go, go, go. We've all experienced that. And I don't want our children or students to experience that. I want them to experience the whole, look, I set a timer, I get my task done. This is good. This feels good. Timers are a great support. And again, when you pair it up with a visual prompt of what's supposed to get done, and then you add the timer in and you include a visual, you're building independence, you're building productivity, and you're going to help build community and relationships by putting all of this together for long-term success. If you have any questions about how to build time management into the IEP, what that's supposed to look like, how do you bring this to your IEP team? How do you get changes within the IEP so you can get away from that old school, like read the hands on the clock? That, a lot of times that's where our time concepts get stuck year after year after year. And instead, how do you move on to how we actually use time management today? We all have digital clocks on our phone. We're all using timers. We're using timers to cook. We're using timers to clean. We're using timer to get tasks done. We're using timers to figure out where are we going to, go and how are we going to get there? We use time management all the time throughout the day. And it's time for us to look at time management as the core skill that it is inside of a child's, IEP, and the ability to truly shape the IEP around what is important now and in the future. Again, reach out if you have any questions. And if you're like thinking, yes, time management, how come we're not putting more of this into the IEP? Could you go ahead and just leave a comment, leave a like? If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review. Every time you leave a 5-star review, a comment, a like, a share, it helps more teachers and parents find this information so they can build IEPs that work in the real world too. I'll see you guys next time on the Special Education Inner Circle podcast. Oh, wait, don't forget the link for Time Timer. It's right here below. You're going to want to go check them out.